In this tutorial, we will load data from an API. So in our previous tutorial, we have created this recycler view. So we are getting the data from this array, and for each of these array elements, we are loading this recycler view cells. So I've created one API for that. This is an API. So if we make one GET request to this API, then it returns one array of objects in JSON format. So I'm using Postman here. You can also download it from their website. It's free to use, and Postman is used for testing APIs. So if you search on Google like get Postman, then this is their website, postman.com, and you can go here and download it for your OS like Windows or Linux or Mac. So this is the API that I deployed. So if I search this here, then it will return me this JSON response. So we have one array in JSON. This is an array, and inside this array we have some objects. So for each objects we have one ID, we have one title, description, and one link for an image. The image that I'm picking here are from Pixabay. So if you open this image, then you will get one image here, this link. So each elements are of same format like ID, title, description, and image. So we'll make one request to this API. Then for this title, we'll put it here in the title box. For this description, we'll put it here, and using this image, we'll load it in this image box. First of all, we need one library to make any API request in Android. It's called Retrofit. If you search it on Google, then you'll get their website, this square.github.io. Then you can go to their GitHub page, and here you can find out the latest release. So if I click on this here, then you can see that the latest release is currently 2.9.0. Then if you click on this download here, then it shows this Gradle implementation that we need to add in our Android Studio project. So I'm showing it here to how you can get the library, because it's currently 2.9.0, but when you are watching this video, it might be something else. So just put that version number here. Also, we have this data in JSON format, so we need to read this from JSON format, and we need one converter for that. So here, these are converters that we can use with Retrofit. We are going to use this Mosi converter, and if you go here, then implementation. So this is the way we can include it in an Android project. Just copy it and paste it here. So for Kotlin, we need one more implementation. We don't need this one. We will need this Kotlin Mosi. And if you go to this Retrofit website, then you can see that we also need this. So let me add one more line here, implementation, and the version number is same as this Retrofit version number. 2.9.0. So now I'll click on this sync now. Okay, the sync is done. Then here I'll create one new package. So right click, new package, add it as network. I'm gonna add one new Kotlin file that's called API service. This file is responsible for making all these API requests. So we need one interface here, interface API service, and also we need one object property here, API. I'm gonna add this our URL, base URL, that is this one. So if I write it here as HTTP and this URL, then I'm gonna create one retrofit object, private retrofit equal to retrofit dot builder. It's using builder pattern. Then I'm gonna add converter factory one, that is our MOSI converter factory. Then we need to add one base URL. This is our base URL that we have defined here, and then we can build it to get this retrofit object. So we need one MOSI object as well, private MOSI dot builder. If you click Alt Enter, then it will import it. Then we need to inform that we are using it for Kotlin build. So this object we need to pass it here. Actually we need to call this converter factory dot create. We can pass it here, this MOSI. It is add converter factory, not call it converter factory. Okay, then in this interface we can define what type of request that we have. Currently we have only one request, that is get request. And if I write down the name of this get request, get all data, suppose it is, it returns one call object. So make sure to import it from this retrofit 2, and we will get one list of objects. So import this as well, from it will import it from retrofit 2. Enter Alt Enter, and it will import it. Then in this API object we need to create one retrofit service. This retrofit service we will call from our application class. So it's of type API service, and we are initializing as lazy retrofit dot create API service class dot java. So basically we are using this retrofit object to create one retrofit service using this interface. So currently we have only this URL. So here we need to add this as dot. So if we had any other URL as like get name or something like that, like names, then we need to use that names here. but since we are using this base URL directly, so we need to use on a dot here. So our API service class is almost ready. Then we need to create some data objects. I'm gonna create one more package here, models. Then here I'm gonna create one new class, Kotlin class. This is of our type models. So suppose its name is, so we are getting this data, and what name I should give? Suppose its name is property, and I'm gonna create one data class here, property. It will have all these properties, so the most you will know like what type of objects we are receiving: ID, title, description, and image. So we have one ID here of type integer, one title here of type string, one description here, description of type string, and one image here of type string. So in the API service class, we need to pass it here because we will get one list of type property. And I'm going to call this API service to get the data from this URL or this API. So in this onCreate method, I'm gonna create one new function here, get all data. Here I'm gonna use this API dot retrofit service dot get all data, and we'll use, let me show you what we are using here. So we are calling this retrofit service here. Then we need to call this method enqueue. So basically it will execute this operation in a background thread. Because for network requests, we always need to use on background thread, because otherwise the app will hang and it might crash. So the network request we always on background thread, and we'll get one callback of list of property. I need to import this one. So here like different types of callbacks here. So you need to find out the one that we have to use for retrofit 2. This one is for retrofit 2. We need to override one function that's called onFailure and onResponse. This is onResponse, and we also have one onFailure. OnResponse is called whenever we will get one response, and this failure will be called when we get one failed response. We'll also get one throwable object here. So with this we can pin the stack trace, that is the reason for this response. We can get it here. Then here we can see we are getting one response object here. If this response is successful or not. If it is successful, then we can put the data in the recycler view. We don't need this here. We don't need to initialize it here. I'm gonna find out for this recycler view after this response is successful. Then in this apply method, we'll create this adapter. It's our my adapter, and the data we'll get in our body. If you go here, this is my adapter. We are not getting one array of strings here. We'll get one list of property. Then we are assigning this manager, layout manager, and this adapter is my adapter. So it's done. Then we need to call this method in this onCreate, and in this adapter class, so here this bind method, we are passing this this item of this data, that is property item. So here we will get one property of type property. Then we need to populate this list item here. We have one image view, we have one title, and we have one this description. So let me add one description ID here, ID TV description. So in this main activity, then I'm in this my adapter, I'm gonna get this text view view.find view by ID text view r.id dot. Here we have this TV title. Then I'm also getting this image view. This is image view equal to find view by ID. It is image view, and I'm getting this image view here. And the last one is our description. So I'm just copy and paste it here. Description is TV description. So for this title, we are going to assign this text that we will get from this property dot title. For description, this is description dot text equal to property dot description. And for this image view, we need one more library to load this image. For that, we are going to use one library that's called Glide. You search it here, you can get the latest release 4.11, and this is the implementation that we need to use. So I am clicking on this sync down here. So we can use this Glide to load this data in this image view. So I'm going to use glide.with view.get context, or we can application context. Let me import it. Use this view.context. Yeah, we need to pass one context here for this with. Then we have to call one method, it is called load, and here we are passing this URL. So we are getting this from this property dot image, this is our URL, dot into this target, that's our image view. This one is the image view. So it will load this image in this image view. It is almost done. Then few more configs that we need to do. So if you go here retrofit, you'll find that let me search it as Java 8. Yeah, retrofit requires minimum Java 8 plus or Android API 21 plus. So we need to enable Java 8. So if you search it, it's enable Java 8 Android Studio. Here you'll find that we need some properties to set. Here these things we need to add, this compile option inside this Android. this Android, we need to add this compile option, and also for Kotlin we need this Kotlin options. Then sync this project. Also in our manifest file we need to define that we are using network for this application. So we need to add one permission here. So it's called uses permission. Here you will find this android.permission.internet. If you search it as internet, this is the android.permission.internet. Now if I run it on our emulator, it's not loading any data. If you go to this logcat here, then if you debug log, then here you will, then it's showing one error here, that clear text communication to simple node, this is not permitted by network security policy. So, and recently Android has added one network security policy, and for clear text communication, that is, we are just making one request to this API and we are getting this text directly. So it's not allowed. So we need to add one more line here. If you search it, allow clear text traffic, uses clear text traffic, then mark it as true. By default it's false. Then run it again. So here you can see that these images and titles and description are loaded. Also you can set it as center crop in this glide. Center crop into image view. So if I load it again, then this image will fill to this image view as the center crop. So that's all for now. So if you love this video, please like, subscribe and share it with your friends. In our next video we will learn more on this recycler view. Till then, bye.